And good morning, my friends. My name is Gershy Schwarcz. I'm your host on Edge, and today I'm here with a report of the last 24-hour happenings in the world for those who just want to hear a few minutes a day of all the happenings and continue on with your day and not waste your time checking every second what happened. This is why I am here, and also I deliver it on the most kosher and most entertaining and funnest way possible. So here we go. Be'ezras Hashem Yisborach. Today is Chov Cheshvan. Chov Cheshvan Tovshin Pai Vuv, and it's my brother's birthday today, 34th birthday. Mazel Tov David, Mazal Tov, happy birthday. My brother shares a birthday as well on the same day as the 5th Lubavitcher Rebbe, Reb Shulam Doiv Ber Schneerson, known by all as the Rashab, Chushav Yid Geben, Chushav Tzadik, and he was born on the same day, 20th of Cheshvan, of the year of Tufresh Kuf Aleph, 1860, Lemes Buram. Today marks the Yortzeit as well of Today marks the Yortzeit Havdil of Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, who passed away on the 20th of Cheshvan, Chuf Cheshvan Tufshin Pai Aleph, in 2020, for those who remember, in COVID, at age 72. He was one of the most respected Jewish leaders of our time, serving as the chief rabbi of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth for over 2 decades. Born in London, he once planned to become a lawyer until the Lubavitcher Rebbe encouraged him to enter to become a Rav, changing the course of his life. Rabbi Sachs became the philosopher and a moral voice and author of more than 30 sforim. He met with world leaders and always spoke in a way that reached every person. In 2009, he entered the British House of Lords, continuing his mission to bring Torah, wisdom, into public life. His teachings, filled with depth and clarity, continue to inspire Jews all around the world. As Rabbi Sachs said on the weekly Parsha, Avruam, in this week's Parsha, Avruam final years reveal quite a strength and unshakable faith. Amen. Even though Hashem promised him a great nation, as he said, right, and the land of Israel, Avram Avinu dies basically owning only one field, and leaves behind one son, Yitzchak, to carry on his legacy. Yet he feels complete, knowing he began he felt complete, right? Knowing he began the journey and trusting that Hashem will finish the rest in his time. When Avram Avinu negotiates to buy the burial site from Sdei Ephraim, he does it with patience, honesty, and dignity. Lot tried to fit in and was rejected, but Avram Avinu stood apart and was honored as the son of Hashem. A lesson is true greatness in a minute is steady effort, calm, trust, betuchen, and the confidence that Hashem's plans always unfolds when it should. Now, I didn't come here obviously to give you Torahs. I'm here to tell you the news. But I had to tell you this because it was important, because Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, it's a big thing for me because I'm British and he was the chief rabbi of UK, so it felt close to me. That leaves me to asking you, have you already signed up to the New York real estate course, NYREC course, to become a realtor? Sdei Ephraim, right? He was the first one who bought a piece of real estate, Avram Avinu. So you can also do that and make a lot of money, a ton of money, if you speak Yiddish and you're interested in the course, which will take place in Mount Sinai Borough Park. This week is the last week to sign up. And less than a week to sign up. I would say less than a few days to sign up. So sign up now, stay on Edge, get a good deal, 718-298-2559. Today is the Yortzeit of Rabbi Tzvi Kogan. Those who remember a year ago, the 28-year-old Chabad Shliach who was brutally murdered in the UAE last year. He disappeared from Dubai on November 21, 2024 and was found killed 3 days later in the desert near Al-Ain, close to the Oman border. Investigators said that 3 Uzbek nationals had planned to kidnap him and smuggle him through the border into Oman. But when the plan fell apart, they don't know why exactly, maybe he fought with them in the car, they killed him and left his body in the sand. The Israeli government called that an anti-Semitic terror attack, of course. The killers fled to Turkey, but were later caught, extradited, and tried in Abu Dhabi. In March 2025, recently, the court ruled the murder. The court ruled the murder was for a terrorist purpose, sentencing the 3 to death and 1 to life in prison. Well, 2 of them to death. His death shocked Jewish communities across the Gulf when Rabbi Kogan had built a warm, growing network of Jewish life in Dubai. He left his almana behind, who gave birth to a baby daughter 5 months after he died. That child will never know her father's voice, only his story. Hashem Yinkum Dumoy. And may he be a Malitz Yosha for all of us here. Anyway, today is Veterans Day in the United States, for those who don't know. It is a day to honor all those who served in the American military. The date marks the end of the World War I, when fighting stopped at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918, which is the Hebrew date of Zayin Kislev Tufresh Ayin Tes. Across the country, people are holding parades, ceremonies, and moments of silence, and I know that my daughter's buses didn't work today, so we had to take them to school. Well, my wife had to take them to school. So yeah, a moment of silence and thank veterans for their service. Leaders say that this day is not about politics, it's about showing respect to those who protected the country. From big cities to small towns, Americans are saying one simple message: thank you for your service. Let's jump into Israel and breaking news, my friends. Major developments. Israeli media report that the United States plans a new military base near the Gaza border. The reported budget is about $500 million. The base would basically support an international force to help maintain the ceasefire. It could house several thousand troops. There's no official confirmation yet from Washington or Jerusalem. Treat this as a developing report from Ynet and other outlets like Reuters. Anyway, the US already operates a civil military coordination center in Kiryat Gat to coordinate aid, for those who want to know, and planning for a possible stabilization force, which we already spoke about several times on the news. Thousands of Israeli attended the Levaya of Adar Golden, Hashem Yikadoma, in Kfar Saba on Tuesday morning, which is today. Well, we woke up to Tuesday when it was Tuesday, almost evening there. Yeah, into the return of following the return of his body to Israel on Sunday. Golden was killed in a battle in Rafah, I said already yesterday, and his body was abducted by Hamas during the Operation Protective Edge in 2014, when he fought them. New details have emerged about the operation to retrieve Hadar Golden's body. After 11 years, his remains were returned to Israel on Sunday, but reports now say that IDF soldiers were extremely close in finding him themselves. Channel 14 reported that after 6 months of digging in Rafah, soldiers were just meters away from finding his body last week. They were suddenly given an order to stop and pull back 1 kilometer, probably to save their lives. A few hours later, the soldiers watched as Hamas terrorists and the Red Cross representatives went to the exact spot and extracted the body. One soldier involved in the digging described it as total frustration. Well, it saved his life, so he doesn't know that. The Israeli Knesset has passed a new law requiring the death penalty for terrorists who murder Israelis. The bill, introduced by Otzma Yehudit, a member, and also member Limor Ben Har Melech, makes executions mandatory for anyone convicted of nationalistically motivated murder of an Israeli citizen. After the vote, National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir celebrated by handing out baklava in the Knesset chamber as a symbolic act. Basically, baklava is often seen as handed out by Arab terrorists, the family of Arab terrorists or martyrs after terror attacks against Israelis. Justice is served, or shall I say, baklava is served. Anyway, let's talk about Protobite. You all know already, I've mentioned several times that if you have a business and tons of applications. Well, today my office has told me that we might want to change from QuickBooks to that books and to this application. We keep on changing because this subscription is more expensive, that's cheaper. At the end of the day, all the subscriptions together, which we're going through now, it accumulated to, I don't want to say it in a number, but it's shocking. Almost like a mortgage. You don't even realize that. You can pay a one-time fee, or maybe, I would say it's cheaper actually. Yes, it's expensive to make a program. When you look at it, it's a big fee. It's a lot of money to build a website. Building a program, better yet. Protobite is good for building programs, all in one. Communication, all the apps, sales, leads, CRM, databases, you name it, everything, automation, the whole lot, the whole bang lot. They do it. Protobite does it for you. So 347-354-1237. Call them. Mention on Edge, get a good deal. Still cheaper than all those subscriptions that you have. Trust me, you have a big corporation, you have 50 employees, you have 100 employees. Doesn't make a difference how many employees you have, but you're always going to find yourself wasting 20 hours a day, I'm joking, 20 hours of valuable time figuring out these programs. Anyway, one program, one software, let them take care of it. They'll help you make it worth your while, and you make a lot of money. 347-354-1237. New York City Mayor Eric Adams will travel to Israel this Friday, November 14, for a 4-day visit through Tuesday, November 18. His plans is meeting with government officials, business leaders, and tech sector, with a focus on countering anti-Semitism and strengthening economic ties for the few days he has left as mayor of New York City. New Jersey. A bill in New Jersey, which is called S-1510, was approved today. yesterday by the Senate Transportation Committee to keep New Jersey on daylight saving time year-round. Representatives of Agudas Yisrael of New Jersey warned that under permanent daylight saving time, winter sunrises would be very late, affecting morning davening and school schedules. Yeah, the committee chair said that he will move the bill out of committee but is open to changes. Basically, nothing happened yet. It's just talks. The Supreme Court of United States of America has agreed to hear a case that will decide whether states, including New Jersey, may count mail-in ballots that are postmarked by Election Day, but arrived after Election Day. New Jersey currently allows ballots postmarked by Election Day to be received up to 6 days later. A ruling could change how New Jersey and up to 30 other states handle late-arriving mail ballots. Well, time, votes, and daylight. 3 battles shaping the Garden State's future. For New Jersey, my friends. Anyway, international news. Hezbollah leaders undergo disguises. Senior members of the Hezbollah terrorist organization reportedly underwent plastic surgery to conceal their identities amid fears of the Israeli Defense Forces. Dozens of previously targeted senior officials allegedly had these procedures performed in Iran and Iraq. A senior Israeli official has called for Israel to take decisive action to topple the Iranian regime before the end of American President Donald Trump's second term in January 2029. A deadly car explosion in New Delhi, India, has killed at least 10 people and injured several others. The blast happened, the accident, during rush hour on Monday evening near the historic Red Fort. Reports say a slow-moving car stopped at a traffic light and then exploded, setting multiple other vehicles on fire. Indian authorities are investigating the explosion as a terrorist act and are using anti-terror laws. In response, the American embassy in New Delhi has issued an urgent security warning telling its citizens to avoid that area. Let's talk about American politics, shall we? There has been a major step towards ending the government shutdown last night, but it has caused a deep divide among Democrats, of course. For those hearing this for the first time, a government shutdown happens when Congress fails to pass a budget to fund federal agencies. During that time, most government workers stay home without pay, and many public services stop until a new deal is approved. After 42 days, the Senate voted 60-40 to pass a bill to reopen the government. This now is the longest shutdown in the United States history. The bill is a temporary funding plan to restart government operations for the next few months. It does not include the extra healthcare subsidies that the Democrats wanted for low-income families. Understand? If not, then I'll tell you again, but not now. Republicans, or replay it. Republicans agreed only to hold a separate vote on that issue at a later time. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer voted against the bill, saying he could not support a plan that fails to address the healthcare crisis. Some members of his party are now questioning his leadership. In the House, Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries also said he will not support the Senate bill, but confirmed that he continues to support Schumer as Senate leader. New Jersey Senators Cory Booker and Andy Kim both voted, obviously no, as you all expected, saying the plan does not protect healthcare or help with living costs. The bill now goes to the House of Representatives for a final vote, with President Trump basically signing it off, calling on lawmakers to pass it quickly. Yeah. Historic fact, on this day, November 11, 1889, which is Chof Beis Cheshvan Tuf Kif Nian, 100 years before I was born, to be accurate, Washington becomes the 42nd state of the United States. 42 days of government shutdown, whatever, I just made that cheshbon. Washington becomes, it's not even Washington, D.C., it's a state, becomes the 42nd state of the United States of America when U.S. President Benjamin Harrison, which was president back then during 1833 and 1901, issued a proclamation declaring that the admission of Washington into the United States, into the Union, is complete. Today's caption, I would say, 42 days of paid vacation for the government and thousands of flight cancellations. I would put it as a caption, but it's interesting. President Trump criticized previous administration's transportation policies and made fun of former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. At a public event, he commented on how difficult it is to pronounce Buttigieg's name, saying, "We had a guy named Buttigieg, like as in boot, edge. Then he made a remark linking the name to policy, saying, "They say it's the best way, just say 2 edges, like boot off the edge of a cliff." which is where they were taking us, by the way, he said. His comments received laughter from the audience and were part of his wider criticism of the Biden administration's handling of transportation and infrastructure. From Pete, boot, edge, booting us off the edge with transportation, to Trump putting us back on edge. Hey.
Should I do audio?
Hold on a second. What?
Should I do audio for this?
Yeah, why not? Go back. Let's play the audio. Let's hear him say it himself.
And we didn't have that. We had a guy named Buttigieg. Boot, edge, they say is the best way. Just say two edges, like off the edge of a cliff, which is where they were taking us, by the way. Boot, edge was the...
Anyway, you heard him say it himself. So, let's talk about transportation, right? What is not frustrating is Arrive Express. When you have a taxi company like Arrive Express, well, it's more like an application, and have a cool system. You can call in, you get text messages when they arrive. People tell me they're the most fastest arriving taxi in this area, in this region. I would say in the wider region if you have Arrive Express. But the point is, if you ever stuck in Muncie or Monroe, you can always call a cab from Arrive Express. 845-622-1111, which is in Muncie, and 845-254-1111, which is in Monroe. Syrian President Ahmad al-Shara met with President Trump at the White House yesterday. Unlike most visiting leaders, he entered through a back entrance instead of the main front door. A quieter arrival that showed the meeting's sensitive nature. For those unfamiliar, Syria and the United States have had no full diplomatic ties for more than a decade. And this was the first visit of its kind. After the talks, President al-Shara stopped his motorcade to greet the crowd of cheering immigrants, Syrians, outside the White House. The Trump administration then announced a 180-day suspension of the Caesar Act sanctions on Syria, major change after years of strict pressure. Officials also say that Syria has agreed to join a new international coalition to fight ISIS, his previous friends. Al-Shara's previous friends. President Trump said that of al-Shara, he's a very strong leader. He comes from a very tough place and is a tough guy. I like him. I get along with him. We will do everything we can to make Syria successful. Have you noticed how Trump likes to say, I like him, he's a tough guy, on very, strange people? I mean, just like the Turkish president. Well, we'll talk about that. Anyway, President Trump made a firm announcement about an air travel disruption during the government shutdown. He ordered all traffic controllers to return to work immediately, saying, air traffic controllers must get back to work now. Anyone who doesn't will be substantially docked. He also praised those, now listen to this, if you're an air traffic controller, you might be rich with $10,000. Yeah, he praised those who continued working, promising them a $10,000 bonus for distinguished service to our country. Flights across several airports have faced delays and safety warnings in recent days. Trump's message was clear. He's running this country like a real boss, demanding discipline and rewarding those who stay on duty. Think about it. Would Biden do this? Would Obama do this? I don't know. My point is, I'm not saying that, but it's interesting how I'm just defining the characters between the two of different presidents in American history. Yeah, basically, you either clear us for takeoff, in other words, he's saying. You either clear us for takeoff, or you'll be cleared and take off. Wealthy New Yorkers are leaving the city following the election of socialist Zohran Mamdani as mayor. Real estate agents in Boca Raton, Florida, and upscale suburbs in Connecticut report a wave of new arrivals from New York City. Many say that they're moving out of fear of higher taxes and tighter business rules under the new administration. Governor Mrs. Hochul, Kathy Hochul, has also blocked Mayor-elect Mamdani's $700 million plan, interesting, to make all city bus free, one of his main campaign promises. The first promise that fell through. Hochul said simply, we're spending a lot of money, and refused to approve the funding. That's what she said. So, the new mayor looked like she's getting ready for the race that's coming up soon, the governor race. We all heard that Stefanik is running, so yeah. So the new mayor's supporters wanted free buses, but it looks like they're getting expensive U-Hauls instead. Anyway, when the buses stay put, but the billionaires roll out, New York is on edge. Yes. YS Capital Group, for those of you who know, already has prepared your loan, and you won't have to pay any closing costs if you call them on 718-831-2168. It takes as quick as a phone call. All you have to do is just call them, 718-831-2168. You get the loan, and you get to invest once you become a real estate mumche, like I said, in Yiddish, the course by Aaron Gottlieb, the NYS. By the way, last week to sign up, just quickly go back, listen to the number, call them up, Sign yourself up, because I don't know if there's any room available there, but you can become one of the real estate specialists of our generation. And yes, take the course because it's worth it. Wise Capital Group will give you a loan if you call them 718-831-2168. Get a loan, no closing costs. It's called a no-doc loan, basically, but no closing costs as well, which is amazing. You can go on wisecapgroup.com, but I suggest you call him. He's a great guy. 718-831-2168. President Trump is threatening to sue the BBC for $1 million after a major scandal over misleading edit of his January 6th speech. The BBC's chairman, Samir Shan, publicly apologized, calling it an error of judgment. The issue began with a BBC Panorama documentary aired before the 2024 election. The program joined together two separate parts of Trump's speech, spoken 54 minutes apart, making it sound like he said, "We're going to walk down to the Capitol and we're going to fight like hell," as one continuous line. Basically, it was two separate speeches. Critics say that edit falsely suggested that he was calling for violence. This mistake came to light after a leaked memo from a former BBC advisor revealed the edit, which we reported here last week on Edge. Trump's lawyers have demanded a full retraction and a public apology and financial compensation. If the BBC does not comply, his team plans to file a $1 billion defamation lawsuit. The fallout has already reached the top of the broadcaster. BBC Director General Tim Davie and BBC News CEO Deborah Turnus have both resigned as a result. $1 billion, 2 lost jobs, and one edit that put the BBC on edge. Yeah, I'm not making a joke. BBC on edge. I'm joking. One day. Anyway, maybe I'll buy them out. Joking. Spain's former king, Juan Carlos, has admitted for the first time that he was the one who accidentally killed his younger brother nearly 70 years ago. The confession appears in a new book published in France. The tragedy happened on March 29, 1956, when 14-year-old Prince Alfonso was shot and killed. Juan Carlos was 18 at the time, wrote that he and his brother were playing with a .22 caliber pistol and believed it was unloaded. He said, "We had no idea there was a bullet inside the chamber. A shot was fired in the air and the bullet ricocheted and struck my brother squarely in the forehead." And he added, "I will not recover from this tragedy. Its gravity will accompany me forever," he says. Reports from that period say his father covered Alfonso's body with a Spanish flag and threw the pistol into the sea. No court investigation was ever opened into the death. Shawarma Delight. Well, you don't have to investigate to find this out. And you don't have to cover it up, because Shawarma Delight is open for all. You can just go there and find out for yourselves. If you're ever in Muncie, stop by. On the way from London and you want to stop by and you want to go to get yourself a good shawarma, I would suggest you go into where Bingo is, off exit 14 in Muncie. Spring Valley Marketplace was 26, the accurate number is 26 Spring Valley Marketplace. You can call in also to the store 845-272-0011, or you can go online at sdny.store and book yourself a nice shawarma, get it delivered for free here in Muncie. And also remember to mention On Edge to get a free drink. Okay, a 35-year-old man has been convicted after pretending to be a flight attendant. Hear that? And flying for free for more than 120 times, my friends. Prosecutors say that Tyrone Alexander used fake airline credentials to pose as a crew for American, Delta, United, Southwest, and Spirit Airlines. I mean, I understand Spirit Airlines, but American Airlines, Delta? How did he do that? He logged years of free travel using 30 different badge numbers and higher dates to access staff-only booking systems. Unbelievable. From 2018 until his arrest in March 2025, we only heard about it now, I don't know why, he boarded flights nationwide under fake non-revenue crew statuses. His case reminds many of the famous story from the 1960s. For those who know, when Frank Abagnale, the real-life Catch Me If You Can con artist, faked being a Pan Am co-pilot to travel the world for free. Like Abagnale, Alexander fooled the system. I think he pronounced it Abagnale, fooled the system for years, but this time technology caught up with his lie. And he is now being convicted of wire fraud and entering secure airport areas under false pretense. From Catch Me If You Can to Caught You at the Gate. Anyway, another higher flyer falls on edge. With this, my friends, we will complete today's segment and have a wonderful day. And again, mazel tov to my brother David on your birthday. All the best. On Edge.